Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're looking at lesson 9.2, basic probability. So we'll be able to find the probability of an event and be able to apply that to find other probabilities of separate events. The probability of an event can be found by the number of ways something can occur by the total amount of outcomes. So this is basically what we want to happen versus the total options that can happen. You always want to make sure that your fraction is in simplest form before submitting your answer. Two types of probabilities we're going to look at today, and most of it will be theoretical. Theoretical probability is what we think should happen, whereas experimental probability is what we observe happen. That just means something that has already been done and we're just taking notes on it, okay? These two things are sometimes not the same thing. So for example, if we think that we should flip a coin and land on tails 5 out of 10 times, that would be approximately 1/2. But maybe when we experiment with it, tails doesn't happen exactly half the time. Maybe tails only happens 4 out of 10 times, which then would reduce to 2 out of 5 times, okay? So notice that these two things do not always have to match up. So what we're going to do is look at this picture here. I'm going to zoom out for a little and then get started. How many total pieces of candy are in the box? The first thing we got to do is count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's the main thing we want to find first. The next thing says how many cherries. So the cherries are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'd be 6 out of 14, which is going to reduce to 3 out of 7. What is the probability of selecting a lemon piece? There are 3 lemons out of 14, and that's already simplified. And then grape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grapes would be 5 out of 14. Okay. If you picked one piece of candy out of the box, which flavor would you have the highest probability of selecting? Well, from our answers here, we would probably be able to choose cherry the most since there's the most, whereas the lowest probability would be lemon because they're the least amount of types of candy. If you picked a piece at random, would you be more likely to select a lemon piece or a cherry piece? And this one would definitely be cherry since there are more cherries. What is the probability of selecting a cherry or a grape? So that means we're going to add cherry and grape together. So again, cherry was 6 and grape was 5, so that is 11 out of 14. Or we can just go back and count the cherries and the grapes. Your friend either wants a cherry piece or a grape piece. If you picked a piece out randomly, which one would you have the highest probability of selecting? Again, for number 9, this one would be cherry because there's more cherries than there are grapes. If you ate 3 lemon pieces, 5 cherry pieces, and 3 grape pieces, which flavor would you have the highest probability of selecting next? So eating means they go away. So let's go ahead and eat. I'm going to scratch out 3 lemons. Notice those are already gone. 5 cherries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 3 grapes. All I'm left with is a cherry, a grape, and a grape. So now my highest probability is going to be grapes. Okay. Next up, we're looking at a spinner. We've got white, gray, and black. So let's figure out the probabilities of those. The first question, how many pieces are there total on the spinner? We're just going to count those. There are a total of 8 pieces or 8 sections. If you spin the spinner one time, what is the probability it would land on gray? That is a 2 piece out of 8 or 1/4. If you spun the spinner one time, what's the probability you land on a black piece? Those are 3 out of 8, and that is simplest form. If you spin the spinner one time, what is the probability it would land on a white piece? So the white is 3 out of 8 as well, and that's already in simplest form. If you spin the spinner one time, what is the probability of landing on a gray or white? So I would just add the grays and the whites together or count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8. Okay. Next up, if you roll the dice one time, what is the probability it lands on a 4? Well, a dice has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on it, and a 4 is once out of 6 turns. If you were to roll the dice one time, what's the probability it will not land on 4? Well, the numbers that are not 4 are 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, so that is 5 out of 6 times. And if you were to roll the dice one time, what's the probability of it landing on an odd number? My odd numbers are 1, 3, and 5, so that is 3 out of 6, which reduces to 1/2. All right, next up, we're getting towards the end here of our notes. How many shapes are there in the total array? So if I'm counting here, I've got 5 across and 4 down, so that's 20 shapes. If you were to select one shape at random from the array, what's the probability it'll be a diamond? So diamonds are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 20. 8 out of 20 is going to simplify to 4 out of 10 or 2 out of 5. Okay? If you were to select one shape at random from the array, what shape do you have the greatest probability? Well, we know I have diamonds at 8. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hearts. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles. So diamond is still the highest probability. What shape has a 35% chance, which is 7 out of 20 of being selected? And since we just counted, hearts are 7 out of 20, which is 35%, because if we set that equal to a percentage like this, 20 can go into 100 5 times. So 7 times 5 gives us that 35%. So we would say hearts is the shape we're looking for. Okay? That'll be the conclusion of our notes today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope this video gives you an idea of what basic probability is. Tune in next time when we start talking about and probability. Have a great day.